All right, I see that they're coming in. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Good to have you. You are coming into room, if you're just entering, you're coming into room A2. And welcome to the American Heritage Virtual College Fair. Okay, just a couple of housekeeping things to get started. So thank you for joining us. Just so you know, you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to the presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening today, so please be sure to sign up for additional sessions. This presentation, so you know, is being recorded and will be available within about a week or so at the same website where you registered. So I'd now like to turn it over we're going to start with George Washington University, and Carol, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Carol Conker with the Undergraduate Admissions Office at GW, and I'm going to share my screen, and we'll get this party started. All right. So I'm your direct contact with George Washington University. We are a university located in our nation's capital, a city rich with history, discoveries, bold thinkers and voices, and loud voices that shape your GW experience. We are nestled right in the heart of downtown DC, and we are a comprehensive global research university. And you are surrounded by academic resources by our location at GW. And that translates into wonderful internship opportunities for you. This is just a sample of what's nearby, all walking distance from campus, as well as the National Mall. And then we're right on the Eastern Seaboard. DC is served by 3 different airports, 2 international, 1 domestic. So GW is a residential university, and we offer you an opportunity to have a traditional campus experience while at the same time also having a city experience. And I just lost my notes for today, so I'm going to have to wing it just a little bit because I'm distracted myself. So we have 20 city blocks on our Foggy Bottom campus, and your 5-minute bike ride, 10-minute walk to the National Mall. And then we have our Mount Vernon campus, which offers you, an opportunity to live in an all living and learning community. About 750 of our first-year students live there. Now, Foggy Bottom is our main campus. It's an easy 15-minute walk across campus. You'll pass academic buildings, residential halls, plenty of places to eat. You can hop on the Foggy Bottom Metro. It'll bring you right up to Capitol Hill. It's the same line that brings you to the airport. And as I said, the Mount Vernon campus is dedicated to our living and learning communities, 25 acres, and we connect the 2 campuses with our ever-moving 24 hours a day shuttles buses. Some very quick facts about GW. We're a mid-sized university, 11,000 undergraduates. You'll have friends from around the world, all 50 states, several territories, and 130 different countries. Average class size is just 29. You might experience a lecture hall class, but you can avoid that class by taking the same class on the Mount Vernon campus. We have 7 different undergraduate schools that make up your GW experience. And as part of your application to us, you get to tell us which of your 7 schools you'd like to be a part of. We offer you liberal arts, you've got visual arts, you've got international affairs, public health, school of engineering, school of business as well, and a school of journalism. We also offer you a robust student life experience. We have 500 student organizations, Division I athletics, 50 intramural and club sports. And one of the hallmarks of your first year experience will be our welcome day of service, where all of our first year students explore over 40 different service sites. Last year, our students performed over 800,000 hours of community service. Dining at GW is a strictly student-driven approach, and you'll have 105 different options to choose from every single day, 55 right in our Foggy Bottom campus, and an all-you-care-to-eat dining on our Mount Vernon campus. It also works off campus, so it gives you a lot of flexibility. Application. So GW uses the common application solely. We do have a supplement to the common application, so be sure to check out the supplement to make sure that there isn't any additional essays you need to submit for any special programs. For instance, our honors program, our accelerated BA/MD program, our journalism program has special essays, as well as an optional essay that you can submit. We are test optional. We've been test optional since 2015. We are fully versed in how to evaluate a file with or without test scores. You just tell us how you want that application to be reviewed. You can apply either early or regular decision. GW does not have an early action process, and we do not require you to have an interview with us. That is not a part of our application process. If you're applying to our accelerated 7-year program, it is a regular decision process with a special deadline of November 15th, and that program is also test optional. Every applicant to GW is automatically considered for a merit scholarship, but in order for us to maximize any funding that we can provide, we encourage you to apply for need-based aid with the FAFSA and the CSS profile. We want you to continue to learn more about GW, so please visit our Journey to GW admissions website. We have lots of virtual programming, including this Saturday, a virtual open house. We also have GW Classroom Week coming up in November, where you can try out a GW class with a current student in a live chat feature. Here is my contact information. This is my favorite GW experience. We're the only university that graduates its students on the National Mall. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we're having to put a hard pause on that. I've set an alarm for myself and now it's going off. But you will get this experience because this will be all over with by the time you get there. So thank you so much, and I am done.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carol. So next up is Hofstra, and I see you're grabbing the screen right now.
Yes, I'm setting a timer for myself now. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name's Tamara. I recruit South Florida students, particularly because I'm from the Broward County area, and I went to Hofstra. Never left. I loved campus so much. So in the 6 minutes, I'm hoping that I can show you why I love Hofstra and decided to stay. So geographically, we're 25 miles outside of New York City. This is great for one, internships, jobs, networking, and a little bit of fun on the weekends. But on campus, we have about 7,000 undergrads. We're a medium-sized private institution, 165 different academic majors. Average class size is 21, and the student-to-faculty ratio is 13:1. So super small classes. The largest class you'll ever be is in our lecture hall that seats no more than 60. Professors will know you, your ability, where you might need a little bit of help, and they know your name, which is super, super important for us as well. We have over 200 different clubs and organizations on campus. Housing is guaranteed all 4 years. It is not required that you live on campus with us either, but if you wanted to come back, there is a space available for you. We're Division I. We have 21 Division I sports, basketball being our largest. Our men's basketball team made it to March Madness. They won their conference championship in March, and we are so happy and excited for them. And our students are serving a lot of community service hours. Again, this is not a requirement for our students, but this is just the goodness of our students helping out within the Hofstra community and the Hempstead area as well. A note on internships, most of our students are graduating with at least one. Most of our students are doing 2 and 3, again, because we are so close to the city that they're utilizing the opportunities that they have available for them. They're interning during the semester, so they're not fighting for summer internships, which is great. You could take your classes 1 day or 2 to 3 days a week and intern in the city the other 2 or 3 days a week as well. Now, we are test optional. Like GW, we've been test optional for a number of years. We recognize that students should not be defined by their test score, and we've supported that. So if you cannot take a test this year or your test scores are not a reflection of your academic ability, you do not need to apply with your test scores. However, if you do, you can see the mid-ranges right here, the average SAT being a 12.20, ACT being a 27, and GPA being a 3.7. Again, these are averages. I say averages because when I get your application, I read them on a holistic review basis. So I look at your transcript, your test scores if you choose to submit, letters of recommendation, your essay. I want to know who you are as an individual. What are your goals, dreams, aspirations? How can Hofstra help achieve that? That's going to make an admission decision. Scholarship is also reviewed at the time of admission, so there's no form, deadline, or application. Apply to Hofstra, you'll be reviewed for admission and scholarship in the same vein. And scholarship is strictly merit-based. So your test score and GPA will determine your scholarship. Or if you're test optional, just your transcript and your GPA, the kinds of classes you're taking, will determine your scholarship. Again, automatically reviewed. We do have 2 early action deadlines, the first being early action 1. Apply by November 15th. You'll have an admission decision sometime around December 15th. If that's too soon, no problem. You'll go to early action 2. That deadline is December 15th with decisions going out sometime around January 15th. Again, too soon, no problem. We're rolling admission after that. We just can't guarantee that 4-week turnaround time. It's somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks for rolling admission. Apply when your application is the strongest. There's no preferential treatment if you apply early action 1, if you apply today, or if you apply on May 1st. Everyone's reviewed as a holistic applicant, and scholarship, again, is automatically reviewed, again, based on those merits. This is me. Like I said, I'm from South Florida. My mom is still in Broward County, so I resonate with you students super, super well. If you have any questions, you know exactly where to find me, and I look forward to reading your application soon.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so I guess our next, we're going to move on to Tulane University, and take it away.
All right, awesome. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Let me just make this full screen. It is always a battle when it comes to making a presentation full screen for me. So just give me a second. So here we are. So hi, everybody. My name is Jorge Nunez, and I am an assistant director of admission at Tulane University. Today, I'm going to be sharing some information with you about the school. So whenever we talk about Tulane, right, we always sort of talk about it in terms of the experience because, you know, rankings are great and Tulane has great rankings. You know, we're like 41 in terms of like national universities. We are in the 3rd best college city in the country. We are 3rd for the happiest students. And, you know, we're number 1 for students that are most engaged in the community. And these rankings are awesome if Tulane is the best fit for you, right? Because if it's not the best fit for you, then you could go to the school with these great rankings, but at the end of the day, right, you're not going to take as much advantage of the resources that are there for you. So that is why today, in these 6 minutes, I just want to talk really quickly about the experience at Tulane, because I feel it's going to be way more helpful for you to make a decision as to whether or not we are the best fit for you. And when it comes to the experience at Tulane, there are 3 things that stand out: the academics, the people, and of course, the city. So in terms of academics, we are a mid-sized level 1 research institution. We are a school that has about 7,200, about 7,500 undergraduate students. Student to professor ratio is 8:1. Average class is about 20 students, which basically means that you're getting all the benefits of a school that's maybe 4 times our size, while having the personalization of a school that is about a quarter of our size. So you're getting a lot of access to our resources. On top of that, you get a lot of academic flexibility. So what that means is that when you get admitted into the school, we don't admit you into one major or one school, we admit you into everything. And that gives you 2 years to really explore all the different academic fields that we have and then make your decision. This is something great to have because, you know, I myself, when I went to school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I went from engineering to biology to literature. So Tulane is going to give you that flexibility where you can really explore all these fields before you actually make a decision. And here are some pictures of campus, right? We have students taking TIES courses. We have some of our buildings, kind of like to give you a vibe for what the school is like. In terms of research, being a mid-level research institution that's also level 1, what that means is that we produce a lot of research every year. So we have about 93 different research institutes on campus alone, and pretty much every single major is represented through that. Certainly all schools are represented through research. We have about $150 million worth of, like, you know, research grant money. So you can definitely take part of all these different research projects and be part of all these different innovations that we produce on campus. But, you know, the academics are a very important part, but that would not mean much if we didn't have a great campus culture. And that is why the people are such an important aspect of your education at Tulane. So students at Tulane come from all over the country. Pretty much every state is represented, right? All 50 states. And then on top of that, we have students from Puerto Rico, DC, and the Virgin Islands. And this gives you a cross-cultural education, right? That is really going to prepare you for the workforce once you graduate. We also ask students to take 2 courses when it comes to race and inclusion, because we really want you to actually grow culturally and develop a higher sense of awareness. So when you go out in the city and engage with the community around us, you have that level of awareness. We also require students to take 2 courses in service, and these are going to be based on your major as well. For example, architecture students, they're part of a program called Urban Build, where they actually build a house for a family that's in need within the city, and they sell that house to that family for the cost of materials, which is way more economic and more accessible to some of the families in our area. In terms of involvement, right, we have over 250 clubs and organizations. You can create your own if you don't like any of those. We have over 110 different study abroad programs that you can be part of. And again, you can create your own. 1 year, a student created a program to go study abroad in the North Pole for a whole semester. Not sure why he did that, but the point is that he wanted to do it and we let him do it. Outside of that, we have our Greek life as well, right? Our sororities and fraternities. You can join either sorority or fraternity in the more traditional sense, or you can join a professional fraternity, which is a little bit more co-ed, and that gives you more options that way. The main thing at Tulane is that your engagement in Greek life is not really going to affect your social life. So it gives you kind of like the best of both worlds. In terms of athletics, we are Division I, but we also have intramural as well as club sports. So that will really allow you to get engaged with that community in that sense as well. Here are some pictures of our students doing service across the city, whether they're helping at a farm, doing some cleanups, or even painting houses, right? There's a lot of opportunities for you to get engaged through that as well. And then last but not least, in terms of student life, our traditions are very important, and Crawfest is our biggest tradition. It's a music festival run entirely by students. They boil over 20 pounds of crawfish, but do not despair if you're allergic to crawfish. I am, and I still go, and they have all kinds of options for you. And I love it because of how connected it is with the city. And the city itself is an incredibly important part of your education here at Tulane, right? We are in a city that's very unique culturally, and that is going to give you an education on its own. But then on top of that, you have a lot of different professional opportunities in New Orleans, whether there's architecture, pre-health, business, public health, like all these different fields. You'll get a lot of opportunities to engage with the city. And then of course, there's the traditional aspects of the city in which you will be able to engage with the city in a whole different way. We have festivals for pretty much anything. If there's food or music related to it, there's definitely a festival. Some of my favorites are Pogo Fest, Fried Chicken Fest, Mac and Cheese Fest, and of course, I love Mardi Gras. I know outside of New Orleans, people have certain opinions about it. Locals don't celebrate Mardi Gras the way that tourists do. It is a very family-friendly celebration. It's about 2 months worth of celebrations, and it really brings the whole community together. So being a Tulane student, you'll be able to engage in that as well. So if you see yourselves in an environment that's going to challenge you academically, not just through research, but also through your courses, and then taking that into service and learning more about racial inclusion and awareness, and then doing that in a city that's like no other in the country, then Tulane is definitely the best place for you. And there are a few ways you can apply. You can apply either early action. Let me see if it lets me move. Well, it's not letting me go any further. There it is. You can apply either early decision, early action, or regular decision. So for early decision, the deadline is November 1st. Early action is November 15th. Regular decision is January 15th. All the information about the application is online on the website you see here. Just keep in mind that these deadlines mean that we need everything by that deadline. If you submit your application and it's incomplete by, say, for example, November 15th for early action, then we want to be able to review your application as early action. So keep in mind that deadline means that we need all of the materials by then. In terms of financial aid, you know, we offer merit-based awards that run from $5,000 to about $28,000 a year. These are partial scholarships that we review you for as soon as you apply. And then outside of that, we also have FAFSA and CSS, which are need-based options. And I am including this in my presentations because I feel like this year, everybody should be looking into this. We never know what's going to happen next semester. But that is all from me. Here's my information again. I'm Jorge Nunez, and I'm an assistant director of admission at Tulane University. There's my email, but you can also find me online. Thank you for having me today, guys.
All right. Looks like I'm up. Hi guys, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jason Vai. I'm the Senior International Officer with the University of Glasgow, and I hate to burst your bubble, but if you can't tell, this accent is all Baltimore. I'm a student who grew up in Maryland from the US. The US education system wasn't the best fit for me. I started in the US, and because the US wasn't the best fit for me, I decided to transfer to the UK. Stayed in the UK for my postgrad as well as undergrad, so I've done things both ways. So if anybody is curious as to how your skills as a student from the US translate across the pond to your advantage, please feel free to pop questions in the chat. I'm here to answer questions. But I'm happy to give you a taste of Scotland for the next 5.5 minutes. So the image that you see on your screen, welcome to Glasgow. This is an image from atop the bell tower on the main building on campus. Glasgow in Scots Gaelic actually means dear green place. So I like to show this aerial shot just because you can see the over 90 parks that there are in the city. It's a very green space. The UFO looking building right in the middle is actually the O2 Academy, one of the largest live music venues in the entire UK. And in the background on the horizon, you see the start of the Scottish Highlands. It's about a 35-minute drive to get out, live your Outlander fantasy if you're a fan of the show, especially in the summertime when the lavender and the heather is blooming. It's such a nice way to disconnect from a major metropolis and go hug a tree for a minute if you need to. So some quick takeaway facts about Glasgow. We were established in 1451. We are the 4th oldest English-speaking university in the entire world. So we've existed much longer than the US as it currently exists has. But to complement that ancient tradition of existing, we are currently ranked 67th in the world. So we are ranked 14th in the UK. So we like to say that we're an elite institution without being elitist. We have over 29,000 students from 140 countries. About 9,000 students are international if you don't include the continental Europeans. If you include the continental Europeans, as far as passport diversity is concerned, it's about 50% Scottish and 50% international. And then we have about 1,100 students from the US come over every single year to join us. So you'll be in decent company. So if you need a taste of back home, need to hear a familiar accent, you can certainly find a group of students from your neck of the woods. There are a couple of cultural differences about undergrad between the US and the UK. The most important to remember is that in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, undergraduate degrees are 3 years, not 4. In Scotland, the US system is loosely based on the Scottish system. So Scotland has a 4-year degree structure, very, very similar to what you would be looking for from a US institution. Campus is a castle on the hill that overlooks Glasgow. It looks like Hogwarts. It's impossible to ignore the comparison, but this is the main building and it's a teaching building. So you will have classes in the main building in the castle. There's multiple courtyards, especially with the big tree. It's a big student myth that where you see the tree in the bottom courtyard, you do not touch the grass until you graduate. If you touch the grass, it means you fail your exams. So you'll see on graduation day, essentially that's empty throughout the year, but then on graduation day, students flock into that courtyard to actually touch the grass. The University of Glasgow owns a lot of the buildings that you see on your screen. So at the very bottom, engineering and physics, there are those academic buildings. If you look just across the street, there's a 13-story library, which you'll be spending quite a bit of time. Just across the street from the library, this kind of blue and green speckled building is the Fraser building, where you can grab a sandwich or a coffee on your way to class. And we've got 3 museums on campus. So it's a nice, while the buildings aren't all connected, it's just a quick walk to get anywhere on campus. So Glasgow offers a little bit of everything, and we do everything pretty well. That's why we're so well ranked. The only thing that we don't have on offer is fine art. So if anybody's looking for painting or drawing, we wouldn't be the best option for you. But there are over 100 degree combinations that you can do when you're looking at coming to Scotland for sure. Entry requirements are going to be very different to what you might find at a US university. Holistic review essentially does not exist in the country. When you send in your application to a UK university, and this goes for the entire UK, not just Scotland, you don't submit your application to a university, you actually submit your application to a degree. And that degree just happens to be taught at whatever university you're applying to. It means that admissions, there's no personal development piece, there's no potential for character assessment, we're not looking for how you've developed as a person, we are looking for an academic best fit for the degree that you've applied to. So academics are going to be strictly based on your grades instead of any kind of extracurriculars that you've done. So you want to make sure that you're an academic best fit. Entry requirements are going to be either AP or SAT subject tests. We need 3 of them. We need at least a 4 on an AP or at least a 600 on an SAT subject test. Obviously, things with COVID, things are getting canceled left and right with College Board. So we are going test optional for this year. So if you have a 3.0 GPA and you've taken 4 years of a relevant subject to the degree that you're looking for, so a biology degree would require 4 years of science. An English degree would require 4 years of English. So a 3.0 and then the correct number of years of study within relevant disciplines, and we'll be happy to accept your application test optional. You'll notice that Glasgow is on the Common App, so you can apply either the Common App or the UK's version of Common App, which is UCAS. You cannot use both at the same time. Just make sure that you choose one or the other. Tuition fees, I think we are very competitively priced, especially if you're looking for out-of-state options. In-state options tend to give UK schools a run for their money, but we're very competitively priced. for where you're going. The cost of living, it's not controlled by the university. It's just over $1,000. So you can multiply that by 9 for the year. And then you'll be living on campus if you want with a 15-minute walk. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to screenshot the QR code right there, pop in your details, and then we'll have a chat. And I'm based in DC, so you don't have to go too far. All right, thanks guys.
Thank you, Jason. I'm sorry, I tried to introduce you in the beginning and my mute turned itself back on. So good to see you. Thank you.
You're fine.
All right, so Wake Forest.
Yes.
You're up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Vargas, and I serve as Dean of Admissions at Wake Forest University. I'm accompanied today by my colleague, Cesar Grisales. We both work in the state of Florida and are happy to assist with any questions as you're navigating the complexities of this process. As you learn about Wake Forest, a lot of students will ask us, well, what's different, what's distinct, what separates Wake Forest from other universities? And so it's important to realize and appreciate that we are a traditional residential campus community. As you're thinking about this process and what you should be doing and certainly navigating the complexities, appreciating that we are a nationally ranked research institution, but also rooted in the liberal arts experience. Our students are coming from so many different walks of life, from both the US and international locations, and then thinking about their experiences, having the depth and breadth across the campus community. We have about 5,300 students across the undergraduate experience, where students are able to, again, explore a variety of different majors and interests within the research and liberal arts component. As you think about majors and programs, those are wonderful pieces, but where we spend the majority of our time is really developing the whole person, right through this critical thinking, analytical thought process. And so with 45 majors and 60 minors to choose from, students actually come in through the admissions process as undeclared, undecided students, and it's not until the sophomore year where they're able to formally declare. So yes, we want to know from you if you have an area of interest on the application, but know that you have 2 full years to explore, and utilizing the basics and the divisionals as part of our curriculum to be able to assist you in that developmental process. So thinking about some of the classes, that first year experience seminar, making sure that you're taking classes in a well-rounded experience so that you're not just good at biology or engineering or politics and international affairs, but that you're really good at being a Wake Forest student and developing, again, those critical thinking and analytical skills. As you think about majors and programs, know that we offer quite a variety. I can share with you that so many of them are popular. It's not just one area. I can share with you that politics and international affairs, a major that Cesar was able to be a part of, has the largest number of students, though it's not the most popular major. Again, I think all of them are popular. It is one of our largest areas with great opportunities for research experiences and certainly opportunities to build relationships with your faculty members. As you're thinking about the process and certainly exploring those entities, also appreciating that our students are able to engage in research. And this is where that relationship with the faculty member is most important, so that you're able to think about those opportunities and think about where you might fit in. Again, Cesar, as a politics and international affairs major, was able to do 2 research opportunities as an undergraduate student. So he'll be happy to answer any questions in the chat box. Now, what do students do outside of the classroom, right? Because we only spend about 15 to 18 hours per week inside of the classroom. And so really it's knowing that there are over 200 club sports and organizations, in addition to Division I athletics as part of the ACC conference. So there's quite a bit for students to be able to explore. We invite you, as you're thinking about the campus community and certainly what our students are doing on campus and off campus, appreciating that there's this strong presence with study abroad and study away opportunities. You'll see in our slides our homes in Venice, London, and Vienna, but then we also have our Copenhagen program for first-year students and our 2 study away programs, one in Wake, Washington, and another one Wake West in Silicon Valley in California. And so as students are thinking about this process, if you say, I love study abroad, I really want to think about areas where I can grow and where else could I potentially explore, where there are over 400 programs in 200 cities and 70 countries for students to be able to enjoy. So think about how study abroad could certainly enhance your experience across campus. Within our Pro Humanitate efforts, this is our motto. We look to develop the whole person, and it's not just a major again or program that we want you to be good at, but we want you to be a good steward in society. And so thinking about our Pro Humanitate efforts and what our students are able to do is important to the development of the student. And so thinking about that, Wake and Shake, our campus garden, or our build efforts, just truly wonderful opportunities for students to engage in. As you're thinking about the admissions process, there are 3 things that I want to highlight for students. One is that we're a pioneer in the test optional world. We have been test optional for over a decade. And so if you believe that a better indicator of your success is your high school experience and not 1 or 2 sets of SAT or ACT test scores, we believe that about the process as well. So you as a student have the opportunity to not submit or to submit scores to us. Thinking about this process, we don't have a preference and we don't frown upon students who choose to apply test optional. And certainly in light of COVID-19, many challenges. We also want students to keep in mind as they're thinking about this process, how they can engage with us, and certainly through the interview and the creative application in thinking about early decision and regular decision and what that means to you. I would highlight to students as you're thinking about this process, knowing that early decision is a binding commitment, meaning that you are saying to us that we are your first choice, and if you apply and are admitted that you are going to enroll at the university. In thinking about this process, knowing that regular decision is still where the majority of our students tend to apply through, and as they're thinking about this approach, how can we support them throughout the cycle that best fits them? I'll end with financial aid and share that we are committed to meeting 100% of a student's need-based financial aid. And so we want students to know that for us, as we're working with students, admissions and financial aid work simultaneously. So if you haven't already taken a look, our net price calculator and some really great information on our website from the Office of Financial Aid. And last, if you've not engaged with us virtually, admissions.wfu.edu offers some true wonderful opportunities for students to engage with us through the distinctively Wake sessions, our Dean's Corner sessions, and again, interviews as part of the optional process to put your best foot forward. Thanks again, and appreciate you spending time with us today.
Thank you, Karen. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Wesleyan University.
Hi everyone. Just giving me 1 second so I can get this show on the road for everyone. It's kind of like Caesar. I'm always struggling with sharing the screen and whatnot. So everyone can see well. Yes.
Yep, we can see you and your screen. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So of course, thank you everyone for being here today, and awesome great work to all of my colleagues as well. Hopefully I can match the energy and wrap us up very quickly within 7 minutes, 6-7 minutes. With that said, my name is Jane. I am a senior assistant dean of admission at Wesleyan University. So Wesleyan University is located in Middletown, Connecticut, literally slap in the middle of Connecticut. That's why it's called Middletown City. We are 2 hours away from New York City and 2 hours away from Boston. Both are commutable by bus or by train. We are not on top of the mountain, nor we are in the middle of the forest. So you'll be, attending school in a small city with a population of about 70,000 citizens. So one thing to note about our campus is that there are no fences around campus. And what this means for us is that it provide our students with an opportunity to interact with a very diverse community of the Middletown citizen. Wesleyan students are committed to social justice work, they're committed to community engagement work, and being able to kind of blend their study and their activism and the community engagement work with the community has been a very wonderful for our students. A chance for them to really take what they're learning in the classroom outside into the community and see how they can support the people of Middletown. And a really cool example that I can provide with you is that our newest mayor is Ben, and he is a Wesleyan class of 2014. So, and the next thing, just very quickly, Wesleyan at a glance. One thing you notice is that even though we're a small liberal arts and science college in the Northeast, part of the NESCAC with William, Amherst, Bowdoin, and whatnot, we are not Wesleyan College. We are Wesleyan University. And what this means is that we sit at a very lucky intersection of a small liberal arts and the funding of a big university. So our class size ratio is 3:1 in terms of student to professor. Also, one professor teach one less class in comparison to our peers as well. So they teach 3 instead of 4. And it is designed so that our students have the ability to connect with our professor more, and our professor have more time to get to know our student beyond just their academic. It's also important to note that our classes are taught by professor and not by TA. The end of research experience at Wesleyan is honestly quite extensive. Like I mentioned earlier, we sit at that intersection of the small liberal arts and that have a funding of the big university. So comparison to our peer in the NESCAC system, we receive twice the amount of federal funding than the next school. About 66% of our undergraduate student major in the natural sciences end up publishing, either by themselves or with their professor. Since we do have a small population of graduate student on campus, about 150, 200, they really bring in a lot of graduate research opportunity for undergraduate students. So what it means for you is that you can start doing postgrad or postgraduate work as early as your junior year. You know, you can be working in lab, you're going to be participating in editing professor's book and whatnot as early as, you know, sophomore year or as junior year. And last but not least, since we are a university, we are able to provide our student with a BA, MA, bachelor and master combination for within 5 years, with the 5th year being tuition free. And if you are on financial aid, you know, room and board for the 5th year will also be heavily discounted. The majority of the BA, MA combination is in the natural sciences, with the exception of psychology and astronomy. So if you want to knock out both your undergraduate and your master degree within 5 years and the 5th year being free, this is a great opportunity for you to take advantage of. And I think another unique thing about West is our educational philosophy. So at West, you know, we operate on this curriculum called the open curriculum. It is a system designed by, you know, our professor and our administrator to help students discover their passion and experience the breadth and depth of a liberal art education. So, you know, with more than 1,000 students, you know, 1,000 courses to choose from, you know, how are these two systems practical? So let's say you are the type of student who know exactly what you want to do. Your pre-major advisor will actually tell you not to start with those classes. They will actually push your comfort zone and asking you to take some classes outside of the things that you think that you're interested in, so that you're able to discover the connection, the interdisciplinary, the intersectionality of the different subjects to make you a more well-rounded thinker and more of a critical thinker, so that you can solve problems outside of the box. On the flip side, if you are the type of student who, like, I don't know, I'm 16, 17 years old, how do you expect me to know what I want to study? That's totally okay as well, because we have this thing called the general education expectation, where you can use it as a roadmap, 9 courses from the 3 division that you can kind of create your own, like, mix and match, kind of like a la carte style kind of education style. Of course, the schedule will be approved by your pre-major advisor before you can take them on, but it's just a kind of nice way for you to kind of dabble and explore the different disciplines that you may not know about before you enter college. At West, you don't even have to declare, you can't even declare until the end of your sophomore year anyway. So we really encourage our student, you know, the first 2 years to explore and figure out what their passions are and what they want to do. And because of the open curriculum, 55% of our student double majors, and it's very normal on campus. You know, you can find people studying dance and environmental science, or can do philosophy and physics, which is quite unique. I think I have like probably just 1 more minute, so I'm just gonna go to the application part. So at West, you know, we take the Common App and the Coalition app, and also we are a Quest Bridge member school. Similar to some of our peers, early decision, we have early decision 1, early decision 2, and regular decision. As you can see here, the deadline. Wesleyan is a test optional institution as well. So I definitely encourage you to feel empowered to take advantage of this opportunity. Feel confident to present to us who you are as a scholar, you know, also given the what's going on in the world right now in terms of safety. You can definitely take advantage of test optional piece. We're not going to look over our shoulder and wonder why you didn't submit your test score. Last but not least, we meet 100% of financial aid need from our family. So if your family makes under $60,000 a year as well, you will come to Wesleyan with a no loan policy. And you'll see that 46% of first-year students receive need-based aid. With that said, I think I'm run out of time, so I'm gonna
Thank you.
wrap it up very quickly. I kind of have to speed through that, but thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jane. Okay, so I know, so students can absolutely. I already see some sharing questions in the chat box. But I guess while those questions are coming in, a question for everybody, and you can go through and answer it. I know our students like to hear about, and some of you touched upon it, but any fun traditions that you have at your respective schools. So whoever wants to start.
Yeah. So when I was a student at Hofstra, my favorite tradition is something called midnight breakfast. It's during midterm week and finals week, where the staff, faculty, administration will serve the students midnight breakfast in the dining hall. So it's a really great steady treat, fuel your brain, and you kind of have the support of the Hofstra community to tell you that you can do this and you can pass your exams with all of the love and encouragement that they can give you. So that was my favorite tradition at Hofstra. It's still a tradition, and it's one of the yummiest ones we have.
Thank you, Tamara. Does somebody else want to jump in?
Hi, I'd love to add at Wake Forest, one of my favorite traditions is Project Pumpkin. It's actually the day that I started during my journey at Wake Forest. And so it's an opportunity for our students on campus to connect with the Winston-Salem community and students in the Forsyth County public school system. And so it's a safe space for trick-or-treating on campus. It's part of our Pro Humanitate efforts to connect students to the larger community, and really a wonderful space. I remember walking onto campus that first day and everyone being dressed up and so much excitement and an eagerness for the kids to arrive, and then just seeing it all come to fruition in that spirit on day one truly spoke volumes to the type of community that Wake is and continues to be engaged in the local commitment.
Okay, anyone else want to jump in on that one?
Tammy, there's a question in the chat that we probably all should maybe address. It's about when will we be able to offer in-person tours and visits again?
Yep, that would be great.
And I will start. For GW, maybe next summer if we're lucky. We are guided by the DC mayor, and Jason will know this from where he lives. A lot of restrictions in DC. And so we are not able to, but we have wonderful virtual programming. But my colleagues here might already be offering opportunities.
Yeah, I guess I can go ahead and just share some about Tulane. So we have been offering tours since the summer. Luckily for us, in our city, like don't have as many restrictions just because we kept those numbers pretty much at bay. So we are offering very small tours. The restrictions are obviously very important, like, only about 15 people per tour and things like that. And, like if you come in, you have to come in with the amount of people that you said you were coming in. Otherwise, we cannot accept the other people on the tour, right? Just to keep, campus safe. But there are a lot of different programs, even some weekend programs as well that are a little bit bigger, but nothing like a regular campus tour as it was before. Yet we're still able to welcome visitors here on campus.
Thank you.
Hofstra is offering in-person tours only for the small number of states that are not on the New York State quarantine list. So unfortunately, Florida is on the New York State quarantine list, which means you have to quarantine in New York State for 2 weeks before coming to campus. However, our virtual tours, I think, are better because we are not entering any academic spaces, classrooms, labs, or dorms. And with the virtual tour, you can see those spaces and options. So I highly recommend jumping on a virtual tour. It's live, it's guided by one of my colleagues and a current student. So you get the best of both worlds with a current student perspective and one of my colleagues in the Office of Admission.
And to piggyback off of my colleagues at Wake Forest, we began welcoming visitors in September. We are inviting seniors who have completed an interview or submitted an application to visit campus through our campus visitor policy. So we know that these are small groups and small cohorts. As they're making their way, we offer them on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays through the end of November. And so again, an interview completed or the application submitted. I'll echo what my colleagues have shared. Our virtual tour options are robust. We've offered quite a bit for students virtually to give you the opportunities to learn what we are hoping to be able to offer students when it is safe and we're all able to do so in the larger quantities and in the spirit that we've intended for this experience. We know that this is a difficult and challenging time, and I know myself, along with colleagues at other institutions, signed the Making Caring Common initiative, and so we want you to know that self-care and self-preservation comes first and foremost. But if you are looking to visit, we do have some information on our website and certainly on our way forward as you're learning more about our campus community and what we've been able to do to keep our numbers low in regards to COVID-19 cases. Thanks.
Yeah, and in regards to Wesleyan, we're actually pretty strict right now. So all of our students have to get tested twice a week, and they really functioning within a small family bubble. So unfortunately, as of right now, we still don't know what's going to happen and when we will be coming back in person. However, similar to my colleagues, definitely encourage you to take advantage of the virtual tour, the virtual open house, the interview with our senior interviewers as well. It's a great way to get to know student. And also, I would encourage you to check out, all of our institutions, students, newspaper. I think it's also a great way to really discover the community, the type of work that's going on or happening on campus as well. So that, if you can't make it in person, at least you will know what, the personality and the characteristic of the student body that way.
I think contrary to what everyone else has said, Glasgow is completely virtual. We're not offering in-person tours. I don't think anybody would be allowed to travel to the UK at the moment. So lockdowns in Scotland have been pretty rigid and very strict, much more strict than in the US. So nobody will be on campus to give you a tour, but we did record a nice virtual tour. I put the link in the chat, so give it a browse. We tried to make it a little bit fun with student tours. But if you're not able to watch the student tours and obviously can't come to Scotland, you can also watch Outlander season 3 if anybody's a fan. Season 3, when they're supposed to be at the universities at Harvard and in Boston, they shot it at Glasgow and in the park behind Glasgow's campus, so you can get a look without actually having to be there.
Well, thank you, Jason. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. Students, just a reminder, we are going to be going into session B at 3 o'clock, and we really appreciate all of the information and having you here on our campus virtually. So thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.